Hi guys, so welcome once again to the Coffee and Hero Show on our YouTube channel. Your host Alan here as always. So just to fill in from the start, just bits and pieces that happened in the store this week. I'll have a little chat about that, have a little look at the movie news. I'll throw out my favourite issues of this week and also give you a little bit of an insight into what's coming next week. So once again, really busy week in the store. It seems to be growing week by week at the moment, which is really good to see. We're continuing to see new faces. We're continuing to introduce new stories and new titles to regular customers as well. I think a lot of the strength of the store is that we're able to broaden people's horizons. You know, they don't just stick to just the Marvel stuff or just the DC stuff or just the indie stuff. I think all of our regulars are, you know, willing to try something new and maybe discover a new story. And certainly if you've always been a superhero fan, you know, with the DC and Marvel stuff, the indie stuff's never been stronger. So it's a really good time to be getting into that, you know. So tons of new titles this week. I did a What's in the Box video a little earlier. We got a big shipment of graphic novels. We've got another big shipment coming next week again of graphics. I've got some more merchandise coming as well from our new supplier, so keep an eye out for that. No doubt there'll be another What's in the Box video coming soon as well. So yeah, really strong stuff all around. I've managed to be getting into the store a little more, which is always good. I do miss the place when I'm not there. The last month or so has been obviously website focused. But now that we've launched that, yay, this week, and it's off to a very good start. Now that we've done that, it's a case of I can be at the store a bit more. There is always going to be a day or two I'm not there, simply because I have to do the boring data entry stuff and keep adding stock to the website and keep adding more titles onto there. So, but you know, Vicky's she's doing a really great job at the moment, and you know, she's even been expanding her DC reading recently. I think she wants to be able to recommend more DC titles. So, very proud guy right here. As I said, the website is launched, the www.coffeeandheroes.com. So we're always going to try and make it a one-stop shop for a store, but also for news and reviews and podcasts and YouTube stuff. So it's live. We've made maybe about 25 sales from it so far, so it's got off to a good start, which is great to see. As I say, there will always be new titles being added on there on a weekly basis. At the start, we'll probably not have new titles on there quite so much. The newer titles will be sold in store, but it will over time become that, where the store becomes online as well as brick and mortar. We will be focusing just on getting those back issues on first of all. I think it's a case of, you know, offering the back issues, and then we'll move on to the weekly new releases somewhere down the line, and maybe move on to graphic novels on there. We'll also look at getting CGC stuff on there. The latest update is obviously last week I spoke about how I'd got my Mr. Miracle back. This week they've updated the status for the delivery of 20 that I sent, and they are now being prepped for grading. So I'm hoping that they'll be sent sometime back to us next week after at the latest. So I'm anxious to get them back as soon as possible, just so I can start offering them to you guys as a service in the store. You know, once we have finalized pricing again, we'll share all that in the social media, all the usual stuff. This week as well, it was great. I was back with my brothers in arms, Roddy and Keith, to record a new podcast. So you can find that on our podcast networks, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or you can just check out the website. The website will always have all the latest podcasts on there. It has our entire library, as well as the library of previous YouTube videos and stuff as well. So we went through the August previews book, so it was a case of going through that. I did an article on the website as well for all of our choices, just in case you want to have a read through that. But if you want something a bit more in depth, you can certainly go onto the podcast network and download that. I think it's the usual sort of 2 hours of us geeking out and chatting away. So plenty of good stuff on there as well. So yeah, I mean, store maintenance. The store's all good at the moment. You guys keep supporting it well and enjoying what we're doing. So, you know, long may it continue. It's great to see. So, in terms of the releases this week, you know, I did want to, you know, start going on to a new sort of part with this weekly show and sort of look at the titles that I've enjoyed the most this week anyway. So it was a very strong DC week. There wasn't an awful lot of Marvel titles this week outside of Empire, which continues to be monthly. Again, as I've stated before, I'm sort of storing all my issues of Empire up, and then I'm going to read all 6 back to back. So the 3 standouts for me this week, one of them actually I think was released the prior week, but I only got around to reading it this week, so I'm going to include it because it's awesome. So I'm gonna throw 3 titles out there that I really dug this week. So first of all, we had a Batman 96. So this is part 2 of Joker War. This one's going under the radar a little bit because everybody is so preoccupied with what my second choice is and doing everything they can to get their hands on that they have missed that this has the debut of a new character called Clown Hunter. It also has the debut of Batman's new suit. And bottom line was just an absolutely brilliant issue. Tynion really is killing it on this at the moment. So, I mean, we're up over 45 people now in Batman. It just seems to grow by the week, and I think people are loving the title. So if you're not on Batman yet, really recommend getting on to that. As I say, undoubtedly the biggest title this week and most contentious one was Legends of the Dark Knights. This was a death metal tie-in. So, you know, you can check out the website again. I did a little editorial piece on this talking about how, you know, if you shop with us, if you have a pull list with us, if you come into Coffee and Heroes on release day, everything will be cover price. Cover A's will always be cover price. Cannot stress this enough. I saw other sites were charging £30, £40 for this issue in advance due to the first appearance and origin of a new character. Everyone is convinced this is going to be the new Teen Titans 12, which of course was the first Batman Who Laughs. In this one, it's the first Robin Keane, and while I would not pay £30 or £40 for this issue, because you should always get it at cover, holy moly, it was a brilliant issue, and that origin story especially was utterly brilliant. It was so dark. It was written by Peter J. Tomasi and art by Riley Rossmo. And then the rest of the book was great as well. It's an anthology book, so there's stories in there from Snyder. There's Garth Ennis' story in there as well, which I thought was pretty great. So if you can pick it up for cover, grab it. We sold out relatively quickly. We did make it strictly 1 per customer. We always want to be as fair as possible. You know, we're not a store that wants to support sort of scalping, if you will. You know, we don't want someone walking in, grabbing 10 copies off the racks and then other people can't get it. As I say, I wrote a long editorial piece on this on the website, so you can certainly check that out. But again, I can't emphasize enough, you will always be guaranteed cover price on release day at Coffee and Heroes. And if it's on your pull list, you'll be guaranteed a copy. We won't mysteriously suddenly not have enough copies or anything like that. So this was a little bit of a warning one, I think, for a lot of people, but we seemed to get everybody sorted, which was great to see. But yeah, bottom line, just a brilliant issue, and that Robin Keane issue or storyline was superb. The other one I wanted to throw just a little bit of love out for is actually not even Batman related. I know, shock, it is DC, but it's not Batman. In the last year, there's been 2 great maxi series set in Superman's world. One was Lois Lane, which is by Greg Rucka and Mike Perkins. Wonderful 12-issue sort of investigative journalism maxi series. Great storytelling. It'll be coming out in the trade soon. The other one is also a 12-issue maxi series, and this one is focusing on Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. Now, I don't think I could possibly think of a less sexy, interesting character than Jimmy Olsen, but somehow this book is one of the best books of the year, in my opinion. This is written by Matt Fraction, who I'm a fan of anyway, you know, through his Hawkeye run, through Sex Criminals. Really great writer, Matt Fraction. And then Steve Lieber on art. And this was just a mad, wacky look at Superman's world through the eyes of a, you know, an investigative journalist himself. You know, he's more of a photojournalist, obviously. But they somehow went into Jimmy Olsen's history in this a lot. There was links to Lex Luthor and his family. I can't emphasize enough, the last page of this is one of the best last pages I've seen in a modern comic. And if it's not a print sometime soon, these guys are really missing out. But again, this is going to be collected in a 12-issue graphic novel soon. And I really can't recommend enough, guys. I would like to think, you know, you would trust my recommendations at this point. And, you know, I just feel it's a title that needs more attention brought to it because it's so well written and so much fun and just a great example of the comic medium. So once that hits trade, guys, really jump on it. We have ordered quite a lot in advance just because we believe in it as a title. So yeah, one of the best series this year, genuinely fantastic. And I don't say that lightly about a Superman book for anybody who knows me. So, Invoice time. This week it's not quite the same 7 pages of Invoice as it was last week. I say it's a quieter week. Next week it's 4 pages worth, so still plenty. But it's definitely more of a Marvel-centric week, except for one massively notable title for DC. So, in terms of the good stuff coming next week, we've got another issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which is Amazing Spider-Man 46, which is continuing the dark storyline that's going down at the moment, the Sins Rising. What else have we got? I've got a new... Get on this quickly, because again, one of the best graphics ever written, one of the best stories ever written, soon to be adapted into a Netflix show, is a series called Bone that Keith recommended to me. It's a massive volume, but they tend to go out of print quite quickly, and then, you know, a year or 2 passes, then they do another edition, that kind of thing. But I've got another one of the Bone 1-volume editions coming in. They sold out last time we got them, so be quick on that if it's of interest to you. The big DC title this week, as I say, we have Dark Nights Death Metal number 3 coming, which I'm very much looking forward to, especially after that Legends of Dark Knights issue. We've also got Detective Comics 1025, so next part of Joker War. Continuing with Empire number 5. We've got quite a lot of Empire tie-ins as well this week, so varying parts of Avengers, Captain America, and Empire X-Men. We have the free comic book day issues this week. We've got 3 again. We've got a Blade Runner issue coming in. We've got Critical Role and Norse Mythology coming in. And then we've also got Hillbilly, Lizard of Rusty Creek coming in as well. So, some good stuff there. One title I'm delighted to see back on an Invoice this week is Hawkeye Freefall. This is probably the title I'm looking forward to most next week, even more so than Metal. Hawkeye Freefall was a series sort of cut down in its prime, and during the pandemic, Marvel moved a lot of titles from physical to digital and said that was how they were going to finish. Hawkeye Freefall is written by Matthew Rosenberg and art by Otto Schmidt, and we were 4 issues into a 6-issue mini-series, and then they decided they were just going to do digital. I was absolutely gutted, but now they've seen sense and they're actually bringing it back to print, which is great to see. We've got Immortal Hulk coming next week with number 36. We've got New Oblivion Song. A lot of guys have jumped on that from issue 25, which was a great jumping on point. We've got Revenge of Cosmic Ghost Rider coming in. Another one of those titles that was moved to digital, but they're now actually going to print them. We've got a really great looking indie series called 7 Secrets from Tom Taylor. We were fortunate enough to read an advance preview issue of that this week, and it was awesome. Really highly recommend jumping on that. We got Star Wars Darth Vader number 4 coming in. And then the biggest release this week, hand in hand with Metal, is definitely Venom number 27. Venom just continues to grow and grow in stature in terms of the amount of people within pull lists, in terms of the value of the back issues. So yeah, Venom 27 is going to be a big one this week. So yeah, that takes care of the sort of housekeeping for the store, both this week and next week. So I'm just going to have a wee cycle through just some of the news bits and pieces that caught my eye this week. You know, not just limited to comics, but also in the world of movies, TV shows, and maybe even gaming as well. So one thing that caught my eye straight away is one for all you 90s kids. The creative team behind X-Men the Animated Series have been having discussions with Disney about a possible revival that would premiere on Disney+. You know, the series producer and director Larry Houston, he confirmed in a new interview. We've had talks, that's about it. We've made conversation and it's up to them to make the decision, but we've let them know that we're all available for what they want to do in the future. So the producer of that, as I say, Larry Houston, he was actually sort of semi-retired, but he said it's the one series he would come out of retirement for if they could do, whether it was a special one-off or even, you know, bring a new series back. This is something I'd love to see, you know, bring back the X-Men cartoon, bring back the Spider-Man cartoon. On HBO Max, let Paul Dini and Bruce Timm do a new series of Batman, the Animated Series. All the voice actors love it, they're ready to go on it, and I think the nostalgia factor is massive for those. And those shows hold up as well. So I would really love to see that actually come back. What else have we got in the Marvel world? So Marvel is bringing US Agent back with his own series later this year. So this one obviously just missed the previous book for August for October releases. This is going to be coming out in November. It's going to be written by Christopher Priest and art by Stefano Landini. So US Agent is a character I'm not overly familiar with. I did start to see some of his stuff in ForceWorks 2020. For me, US Agent seems to be basically Captain America, but a bit of a beep. I'll just say at this point because I like to keep this YouTube channel family friendly. Yeah, so it looks really interesting. It's going to be at least 5 issues by the look of it here. It's being told in 5 acts, as they say. So I think miniseries are the way to go with these sorts of characters. There's no point committing to a sort of lesser known character and saying this is going to be ongoing and the issues are going to keep coming, because otherwise they just have to cancel it down the line, which is unfortunately the case with something this week. Marvel cancelled Ghost Rider, which is written by Ed Brisson. It's been a really good selling title for us in store and very critically well received. But they literally just cut it dead. Issue 7, which came out recently, and there was a huge cliffhanger in it. There's been a few guys in the store have expressed their displeasure at this, so it's a shame to see. You know, I mean, I would rather they would bring back like a character like Ghost Rider, do 6 issues. If it sells well, then do a volume 2. Don't say it's an ongoing. Ed Brisson said on Twitter about it, as many have assumed, Ghost Rider 7 was the last issue of the series. I loved writing it, had a hell of a time telling Danny and Johnny's story and introducing the spirit of corruption. As far as their continued adventures, that will continue elsewhere in the Marvel Universe. I should have done this sooner, but I'd wanted to thank the entire creative team. This book would have been nothing beyond them. Yeah, it is a shame because they had solicited as far as issue 9, and now it's just basically been cancelled. So again, I understand ongoings for characters like Batman, like Spider-Man, like Superman, like the Avengers and so forth. You can understand that, but I think with these sort of second tier characters, if you will, there's tons of great stuff to be done there, but just maybe do it in shorter bursts instead of leaving fans sort of slightly hanging, you know. What else have we got? So there was the news this week that Mulan was going to be put onto Disney Plus for the very princely sum of $30. There have been people who have argued this is okay because a trip to the movie theatre costs more than that, but you're not really getting the experience of going out to the cinema. Vicky and I recently went to see Dark Knight again in the cinema, and even though I've seen that movie genuinely 50 times, and I think this was my 8th time in the cinema, there's still something great about that experience. And for you to be charged $30 to watch a movie at home, when you're already paying a subscription fee, I think is a bit ridiculous, and it's a worrying trend that this could be the way it's going. But the reason I bring it up is because a lot of people then thought, was Black Widow going to be next for this? Obviously, the Marvel movies have always been massive. They always make in excess of 600, 700, 800 million worldwide, billion-dollar movies and that kind of thing. But apparently, Mulan is going to be a one-off. Now, they say that, but if in the first week Mulan suddenly, you know, took the equivalent of what would be the box office, they might just think to themselves, well, we don't have to pay theatre costs. We don't have to pay shipping costs to get the movies to those theatres. We don't have to cut the money with them. So this could be a dangerous precedent. And if the numbers come back, because at the end of the day, it's all about money, if it comes back really strong, then don't be surprised to see an announcement saying, Black Widow coming soon. So we shall see. What else have we got here? So they named the director for the upcoming Captain Marvel 2. It's a director called Nia DaCosta, who directed a movie called Littlewoods. And this is going to be starting towards the end of next year / start of next year. Obviously, a lot of these things are pandemic. You know, it relies on, you know, where we are as a society and where we are in terms of dealing with this pandemic. You know, the entertainment world could be back to full strength by the end of this year. It could be the end of next year. You just don't know. So it's bit by bit. But it's interesting that they've changed the directors from the first Captain Marvel movie, which grossed over $1 billion. Don't know why. Really wasn't very good. Don't hate me. Just wasn't my kind of movie. Definitely one of the weaker Marvel movies for me. But it is interesting they've changed directors, because certainly with the 2 Ant-Man movies, it was the same director. With the 3 Captain America movies, it was the same director. With the Iron Man movies, it was, you know, it was Favreau for the first 2, but then it was, oh God, what do you call him? Shane Black for the 3rd one. But I suppose with the likes of Thor, for example, Thor basically had 3 different directors. I believe the first movie was Kenneth Branagh. The second movie was Alan Taylor. Not this one, unfortunately. And then the third one was Taika Waititi. So they have proved that it's worked as well. And I should actually caveat, I said Captain America had the same 3. That's not true. Joe Johnson did the first. And then that was when the other guys took over, the Russos, for Winter Soldier. Still the best Marvel movie, without a doubt. So, yeah, we'll be curious to see how they get on with that. I think a lot of Marvel's upcoming slate, you know, obviously you've Black Widow, however it's going to be released. You've got the Eternals. If they ever release New Mutants, obviously, which was a Fox property that got brought over to Disney Marvel. But I think after that, you'll then start to see a lot of sequels. You'll see Captain Marvel sequel. You maybe see a third Ant-Man movie. You'll see Thor 4, which is going to have Lady Thor in it. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go on from that. And then I'll just finish off with one last bit of Marvel news, which is sure to appease PlayStation owners and annoy Xbox ones. You've got the upcoming Marvel Avengers game coming from Tomb Raider developers, Crystal Dynamics. They are going to have Spider-Man as an exclusive playable character in the PlayStation version. This is not a massive surprise given that Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, whether it be the movie rights, the game rights. So it's not a massive surprise that they're basically using this as a way to try and lure people to the PlayStation over the Xbox. There was rumours that Microsoft were trying to set up some sort of a deal to have an exclusive character in the Xbox version, you know, because this has happened before in gaming. Soul Calibur always comes to mind. I think it was Soul Calibur 2 that on the GameCube had Link in it, but the PlayStation version had Heihachi from Tekken, and then the Xbox had Spawn, so Xbox was cool as the game. So I'll be curious to see. They have said that there's not going to be any exclusivity for Xbox, but you never know, Microsoft might pull out their massive wallet and solve that problem in another way. We shall wait and see. Let's see what else. So we'll move on to a bit of DC news now. I mean, obviously talking about gaming there, it's probably wise to chat about the official announcement this week from Rocksteady Studios that they have announced their next game, which is Suicide Squad. You may remember I chatted about this a few weeks ago, that they had registered the domain name Justice League versus Suicide Squad. And yes, they announced it's a Suicide Squad game, but the opening picture they've released is the logo, which is really cleverly done with the Suicide Squad, and then it's made to look like a crosshair from a gun, but it's actually targeting Superman. So I'd be very surprised if the Justice League weren't in this in some way. They have always said that they were working on 2 games, so it's interesting to see if Warner Brothers Games Montreal is working on the Batman game as well, so in conjunction with Rocksteady, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But somewhere we should find out more information from that is at DC Fandom. I've chatted again about this before, but I think it's worth reminding everyone until the event actually occurs, which is going to be on August 22nd. So DC are doing a 24-hour long Comic-Con, essentially, a virtual Comic-Con. And this week they just announced a lot of the guests, or who will be doing guest panels and that kind of thing. I would say there will be those gaming announcements, so there will be more elaborations on Suicide Squad and if there is a new Batman game coming. But there's also going to be tons of news on movies, TV shows, comics, all sorts. Now, just to give you a little idea of some of the events that are going to be taking place, some of the guests, this is a who's who. There's going to be a panel with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson, so that's possibly going to lead to some new Batman footage. Will there be a trailer? Will there be a short sizzle reel? We'll wait and see. There's going to be one for Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, so we'll no doubt see another Wonder Woman trailer, maybe get some news on a release for that. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti and Ezra Miller are going to have a panel. The Rock's going to have a panel. There's going to be a Suicide Squad panel with James Gunn. There's going to be an Aquaman panel with James Wan, a Shazam panel with Zachariah Levi, and then there's also going to be Zack Snyder's going to be showing some stuff from Justice League, and then also Val Kilmer is slated to appear, which does give maybe some credence to the rumours of a Batman Forever extended cut. But as well as all those big names, I mean, just to give you some idea here, there's going to be at different events there. There's going to be Adam Brody, Alan Tudyk, there's going to be Jai Courtney, Joel Kinnaman, Margot Robbie, Mark Strong, Michael Sheen, Neil Gaiman, Pedro Pascal, Robin Wright, Sean Gunn, Will Arnett, and many, many more. I did see the likes of Bendis and Scott Snyder and so forth are going to be at this as well. So I'll be curious to see what the sort of scheduling for it is, because it is a 24-hour straight event. I may have to pound a lot of coffee and just work through all 24 hours of it. Don't be surprised if Vicky's running the store that day, guys, because I might be busy. On the subject of Suicide Squad the game, and also DC fandom, and James Gunn going to be there, there was also the reveal of his Suicide Squad logo, which I have to say looks really class. This is proper old school retro, just really clean design, colourful. It was released as a lot of the cast members basically sang him happy birthday, and then they released this as like a present to him. So that was pretty cool. What else have we got? A few sort of, one last DC one, which was the Tom King, or not Tom King. I mean, these guys confuse each other all the time with who's who, but Tom Taylor has been teasing a project for a while. He was putting up specific letters on his social media and so forth. So what it's going to be is it's going to be Injustice Year Zero, and then he instantly dropped the first 3 chapters digitally. I haven't read them because, again, I can't conform to digital comics. If you guys love them, work away. I'm just a paper man. So it is going to be collected at some point in print, so I'll look forward to that. But it's essentially going to be a prequel to the Injustice Gods Among Us stuff that's already available that Tom Taylor wrote. So the prequel series explores a new conflict set before the fateful day when Superman killed the Joker. Subtitled Fall of the Old Gods, Year Zero sheds light on this universe's version of the World War II era Justice Society, even as it reveals what happens when the Joker manages to take control of the world's most powerful heroes in the present day. So I am really looking forward to that. They debuted a really class cover for it by Julian Tolino Tedesco, which is awesome. And the series is going to run for 14 chapters in total. So it's going to come out every Tuesday digitally. And then I would imagine down the line they will collect it into a nice print version. Here's hoping anyway. So I'll just finish off the wee bit of sort of more independent style news. So the Invincible animated series is coming soon, which is going to be going on to Amazon. They recently released a Invincible Free Comic Book Day issue that we had this week actually. And they actually showed some interesting character reveals for it. You know, as revealed in the Free Comic Book Day, co-creator and original series artist Cory Walker is serving as lead character designer, so that's good. There's going to be that little bit of continuity from the comic series, and he basically showed the entire cast, so I'll put a little through the magic of editing just to show you that. Invincible is looking really, really cool. I've got the first compendium sitting there Keith lent me. I've worked away through Lazarus that he lent me, so maybe Invincible will be next. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, we found out all the main cast members for it, and it basically is a who's who of Walking Dead cast members, to be honest. So we'll look forward to that. I've talked a little bit about Bill and Ted before. It would appear that it is now actually being brought forward a few days, and a bit of good news. It's actually going to be out on streaming networks on August 28th. Same again, this is the start of this precedent I was talking about with Mulan and Black Widow. You know, if these movies do well, theaters really do face an uncertain future, unfortunately. But that's not going to stop me paying for it and downloading it. So I'm looking forward to Bill and Ted. It looks fun. I've always said that with these types of movies, there's always a danger that it's been so long that it could be another failure. I always think Anchorman 2 is a good example. I love Anchorman 1, 2 just does nothing for me. But at the same time, it's not like Keanu Reeves needs the money or the attention. So I like to think there's a cool, fun story that they're going to tell there, and that's what's brought him back. So I'm just going to finish off with one last bit of news, which really interests me, I have to say. So coming out later, or well, whenever, is there's going to be another Kingsman movie. This one's called The King's Man. And this is actually a prequel set back during the formation of the Kingsmen. So it tracks the origins of the agency, and it's set during the early days of the First World War. It has the likes of Ralph Fiennes in there, it has Gemma Arterton in there. And they were talking about, Matthew Vaughn was interviewed this week, and he was talking about how the movies are sort of going to connect together. It's going to lay seeds to it. So, because there is going to be a Kingsman 3, which is going to continue to follow Eggsy's journey. Love the Kingsman movies. Great stuff. But yeah, what he said was, we've put seeds for what's going to happen in Kingsman 3 all the way back into this, and it's going to be very different. He was initially planning to let a different filmmaker do the new Kingsman, but I don't think Matthew Vaughn wants to sort of pull away from this franchise. He directed the first 2 movies and this prequel. So he said he actually wants to do it now. So he's probably going to stick with it, which I'm more than happy with. If you've never read the original graphic novels for this, by the way, they're called The Secret Service, not Kingsman, just in case that was a title change. So yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. As I say, keep an eye on the website all week. There'll be new issues going on there for sale. There'll be some new articles going on there. I'll have the podcast on there as well, as I say, the new previews one. If there's anything you need from us, you know, the door's always open. Just get in touch with us via Facebook Messenger or give the store a call. And then just keep an eye on the social media stuff, and we'll keep you up to date on everything we can. So I hope you're all staying safe out there. Look forward to seeing you in the store. Take it easy.